So let's take a look at what is going on. So like I said, we are going to check letters today, which here's today. I understand if you're not able to go through at the same speed that I'm doing it and you miss a step, that's fine, because if you can't keep up, you can always watch the video from the previous class in class. If you watch the video from the previous class and do all the work from the previous class during class, you'll be fine. You'll only be one day behind, and I will never grade anything the day after we do it. So the only way you fall behind is if you're messing around and trying to look busy instead of actually being busy. Okay, and like I just said, I'm not sure how many we'll get through today, but we're starting with 6 and we're going to continue through from there. So still in your parts 1 through 10 document, whatever you called it, parts 1 through 10 is probably a good name for that sort of thing. And let's go full screen because it's better. And right now we have, I don't know why I can't see the bottom on here. Yeah. Okay. So we only have 1 through 5 so far here. And so we need a new one, new create part studio. Go back to full screen. All right. So we're going to number 6. Number 6 is a lot like number 3. I mean, almost identical, except the second step is a cut instead of a extrusion. And so this is going to be another create something, then cut something. And here we are just going to make this sort of wedge shape. That is the height of the left, the width of the bottom, the width of the top, and then connect. Once we do that, we'll extrude it the full depth, and then we'll come back for that cutaway in a second. So the total height is 2 here and 3. So it's 5 tall. And this width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 9 wide, 5 tall, and across the top is 1, 2, is 4. So 5, 9, 4, and extruded 5. Let's see if I can remember that. So let's come back here, start a sketch on the front because that's where we are, the shape we're drawing. Line tool across the bottom, line dimension, line dimension, line dimension. So it's 9 this way. Line from here, make sure it snaps to vertical, dimension this to 5, and line tool, dimension this to 4, and then line tool to connect. Okay, finish the sketch, look at it from a corner, get rid of the origin planes, and let's extrude it. Extrude tool, click on this and extrude it 5. All right, so we have the main wedge portion. Now we need to do is this cutaway, which we're going to draw a square on the left side. That's 3 by 3, and then extrude it all the way across. Just do a cut extrude all. And you can see it's 3 wide there and 3 tall, so it's a square. So let's look at it from the left side. I don't know why it's not doesn't jump smoothly, but either way, sketch here, look at it straight on from the face called left, get a rectangle, choose this top, it's the top right corner, but it's really the top front corner, and set it to be about right. Dimension 3 this way and 3 this way. finish the sketch, green check mark, look at it from a corner to make sure that we are extruding the correct direction. You can't really see the square in the shadow, but here we are. And so extrude tool, choose the rectangle or square we just drew, switch it to remove and remove through all and hit OK. And there you go. That is part 6, which I need to name. Okay, so down here, right click, rename part 6. Okay, let's go on to 7. 7 is significantly trickier than any of the other ones on the entire page. Let's rename it before we forget. Part 7. And full screen it. All right, so the reason why part 7 is so difficult is it requires a tool we haven't used yet called Loft. And the way Loft works is you make 2 different sketches apart from each other and then sort of extrude one into the other. Okay, so if I, this is not the part, but let's say I do a circle, just a center circle here of whatever size, and I finish the sketch, and then I make a new work plane, that is offset from the front by, I don't know what my scale is right now, out in front of it by 5 inches. Let me turn off the origin. Okay, so I drew my first one on that origin plane, that front plane. Then I make a new work plane away from it, okay, called plane 1, and then sketch on work plane 1. And I make an entirely different shape, like let's say a square. I should have center pointed it, but that's fine. Then finish sketch, and you could turn the visibility of work plane 1 off. So I have these 2 sketches that are separated, and we can do Loft, click on one, then the other, and it will extrude one into the other. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. I have 2 different sketches, and it's doing sort of an extrusion, but it's turning one into the other. And it doesn't matter what shape you do. Like if I get rid of all of this and do a like a polygon or something, it will kind of just morph into one into the other. So go like that, and then like that, and so it allows you to do a lot of more complex things, which is what's happening here in part 7. So I'll go back to the beginning just to let you know, or have you see where we are, and turn on the origin planes. And all right, so the way part 7 is going to work is just like what I showed you with the origin or with the Loft, is we're going to make 2 different sketches and loft one into the other. One of the sketches is going to be the front, which looks a lot like part J on the other side. And then the other sketch is going to be the back, which we can presume goes like that, sort of towards the back, even though we can't see that, those back bottom edges. And then once we have these 2 sketches that are on different planes, 4 inches apart, we can loft one into the other. The tricky part is making sure that the edges that are shared, which are this edge is shared with the back, this edge across the bottom front is shared with the bottom and the back, and this edge on the right of the front is shared with the right on the back. Those need to line up perfectly. And for that, we're going to use the project geometry tool or the use tool. And that will make it significantly easier. So you could start with either drawing the front or the back. I'm actually going to start with drawing the back because when we make a new plane, its default is to come forward. And I mean, just like there's no up in space, it doesn't really matter. But I mean, you got to choose one. So the dimensions of the back are the same as the front. It's going to be 5 on, let's look at it like this and clear. It's going to be 5 down. If this is our origin, 5 this way, 3 to 10 this way, another 5 this way. I know my drawing over here is not a scale. 3 in from either side. And then the slope lines, which slope lines we know, as long as you know where they start and finish, that's fine. So we will be able, we already know these points. We just need to find this point and then connect them, which is centered and 2 down from the top. So we'll come back to that. So starting with sort of our known square edges, or vertical horizontal edges, it's 10 this way, 5 on either side, and 3 in from the top. So we can start with, let's make a new sketch on the front plane and look at it straight on. Line tool across the bottom and line and dimension 10. Another line, go straight up, dimension that to 5. Another line, dimension that to 5. And then in from either side, 3 this way and 3 this way. Okay, and then like I said, we need to find the this point, because in order to do the slope lines, we need to know where it starts and where it finishes. We know where it starts, these 2 starting points, but we need to find this point exactly in order to do the sketch. So there's a couple ways to do this. We can do we have work point? Okay, so yeah, let's get it. You can do this with like the kind of, I don't want to say cheating way, but the sloppy way would be to make a line, find the exact center point, and then dimension that to 2. But that can actually mess you up when you're trying to do lofts. Lofts are very particular with where lines are. And I'm actually going to turn off the origin planes and point. Sort of getting in the way now. So what we can do is just get the point tool, which is just going to give us a work point. Just put it right there. Now we can dimension the location of that point. And once we have that, we'll do it to connect. So we know that the distance from this point to the top, anywhere on the top, either this point or this line, and the same as the other side, should be 2 from the top. And you'll notice that depending on where, well, we saw a, if you do from this point to this corner, it starts out as a diagonal distance. We don't want that. If you go up, it's going to be a horizontal distance. We don't want that yet. I want to do the vertical distance. And it's 2 down from the top, which you can see these little pencil lines here are from when I first went through this. And so it's 2 down from the top. And it is also, well, it's centered on this 4-inch gap. So it's 2 in from the side also. So we actually can do the same thing. The distance from there to that point should be 2 also. And then now we have this point that's fully dimensioned. We know exactly where it is. We can draw a line. First click, second click, then first click, second click. Okay, and then finish the sketch. So we have the back. It's on our origin front plane. And now we need to make a new plane that is the correct distance in front of it. And the front is exactly 4 inches away from the back. So we need to make a new sketch plane and then draw the front and it will loft, not extrude, loft. So let's make a new sketch plane, which is here. And we can click on either the front or this, it doesn't matter. And we want to set our offset to 4. And you can see how this new sketch plane is sitting in front of it. I still have the origin front on, it doesn't really matter. But our new sketch plane that's proposed is right there in front of it. And we set it. Now we need to sketch on that plane. So sketch on, and you can choose plane 1 from here or from there. Okay, so we can turn off the visibility of plane 1 because, oh no, not yet. Okay, so we are sketching. Oh wait, I shouldn't have hit, let me go back to, because I hit OK on the sketch before I should have. Okay, so from here, we finished the back, new plane, click on the sketch we have, offset by 4. And check. Okay, so our most recent thing is creating that new plane. And it's far away from the origin plane. We'll turn off the front, the origin front. So now we need to put a sketch on this new plane. And we need to draw the front. And the front, we could try to line it up exactly and get the line that kind of is close there and try to dimension it off the origin, but we don't have the origin on our new plane because we're off. What we're going to do is use the use tool, which is also project geometry. And with the use tool, we can click on this line, and this line, and it projects, it sort of throws that line over to our new sketch plane. And because the plane was parallel with the one we used before, they will line up exactly and not just look close. They are exactly lined up, which is what we need if we want like this face to be flat or the bottom to be flat. Okay, so we are now sketching the front. We can turn off the visibility of sketch 1. Don't delete it, but turn off the visibility of that because it's going to get in the way. We can turn off the visibility of the plane we made, because we still have this rectangle for our where we're sketching. Now we just need to draw the remaining 4 lines of the front, which are this line, which is 1 inch from each side, and then these slope lines that are just like the back, but we need to find that point in order to connect. And this point right here is 1 inch from the bottom and 5 from the side. And we can use a work point for that. So let's get a line, snap to the top left, I guess, draw in, dimension that to 1, and line tool here, dimension that to 1. And let's get a work point, put it somewhere close to where we want it, dimension the distance from that work point to the bottom, which is 1 also. And it's still blue because we still need another dimension. Okay, you always, we talk about this almost every time, that if anything's blue, it's not fully dimensioned, which it is because it moves left and right. It doesn't move up and down because we have that height dimension on it. So we need to dimension the distance from that blue point to the side of everything, and that needs to be 5 in order to be centered on our 10. And just need to connect that to that, and then that to that, and finish the sketch. Look at it from a corner and turn the visibility of sketch 1 back on. And you can see we have this frame. Well, it's not technically a frame, something else, but it's sort of a, yeah, I mean, it is a frame of sorts. that's the front and the back. And we just need to use the loft tool, which is this one. If you mouse over, you get a little, pop up. And we just need to select both of the sketches. Doesn't matter which order, but yeah, there you go. That is how you do number 7. A little tricky, but once you know how to do it, you should be able to follow the steps. Okay, and let's do number 8, and I think that's where we're going to end new stuff so that we can do grades and get everybody caught up. So let's do F11, F11, and new Cart Studio. Actually, maybe we'll do 9 also. It's still early. Let's rename this part 8. And if we'll screen it. And all right, so part 8 is going to be another create material, cut material situation, but we're not going to cut extrude. We're going to do a chamfer. I'll show it to you both ways because it is important to start thinking about how you would make different complex items as far as like their geometrical features. And so, you have to start with creating something because you can't cut away something that's not there. We're actually going to draw the side sketch. That was a nice little shape, which looks like that, and extrude it all the way across. And then I'll show you both ways to cut away this front corner, which we'll do that in a second. So the sketch on the right side is 2 tall in the front. It's 6 tall in the back and 5 wide, and then we can just connect, of course. So let's do a new sketch, but let's sketch on the plane called right. It's not, like I say every time, it's not super critical which plane you start on, but we're drawing the right side of the shape, so we might as well be consistent. So looking at the side called right, let's get a line that goes across the bottom. This is front to back, even though it's left to right on the screen, and it's 5 wide. And we need another line that goes, this is the front, that is only 2 tall. And then there is the back, which is 6 tall. And another line that goes there, and it's fully constrained. Let's look at it from that corner and turn off the visibility of origin points and origin planes. We still need to finish the sketch, and let's extrude, choose our shape. And it really doesn't matter if you extrude it for left or right from where we are right now, but you do need to extrude it 8. Okay, so this front corner, the common mistake that people think of when the first step to do this would be to put the sketch on the slope face, then draw a line that is like that, assuming we dimension it. You can tell from my tone that this is the wrong way to do it, but make that rectangle that's the right size, or that triangle that's the right size, and then God, it never lets me break it when I want to break it. Assuming we were able to make a triangle that was the right dimension, and we extruded that triangle and switched it to remove and removed it all, this is clearly not the cut that we're going for. What we need to do is actually, well, one of the 2 ways to do it is to God, I can't even see the whole thing. One of the ways to do it is to sketch on the bottom and extrude straight up, because this like extrusion wall, this part right here is actually vertical. So if we make a sketch on the bottom that is this shape, we can then cut extrude up and cut extrude all of it. And this shape from this front corner is 3 in from either direction and then connect. So we'll look at it here, do a sketch on the bottom face and let you see where we are actually sketching. And we can look at the face called bottom in order for it to be straight on while we're doing two-dimensional drawings. And our line goes like that to there. Thank you. Right click, done with line. And we need to make sure that it's the right size, which in order to make sure it's the right size, we just need to dimension the distance from this point, and you may have to zoom in order to get just that point, not the whole edge. The distance from that point to the corner should be 3, and the same thing here. The distance from that point to the corner should be 3, and it's given us black lines, but I don't think we actually have lines to make it a full triangle, which we can prove. Okay, so there's our triangle. Will it let us extrude? Oh, it will. Okay, I don't know why it didn't before, but it lets us extrude that triangle. We can switch it to remove and then through all, and that should do it. Okay, the other way, I would say slightly more professional, not professional. I don't know how I would describe it. A different way to do it. Why won't it? Can I zoom out? Okay, that does it. A different way to do it is to use the chamfer tool that we've used before. And the chamfer tool is a part feature, so you don't need to make a new sketch. Although I think there's probably a sketch chamfer tool. Where would it be? It's somewhere else. Anyway, the chamfer tool is that. It's sort of the knock off edge tool, and the edge we want to cut from is this front corner, and the distance we want to move in is 3 from either side, so we can switch it to equal distant, and 3 is what popped up. I don't know if it will pop up for you. And then hit OK, and you can see how it cuts back exactly 3. Okay, and just to make sure we're moving along, because I do want to get through this, maybe we can do 9 and 10. Yeah, let's do 9 and 10. These are much easier than the other ones. So yeah, let's do that. So let's make a new create part studio, and let's rename it to part 9. Yeah, this is good because 1 through 10 is going to be its own grade, and 11 through 20 will be the other grade. Okay, so part 9. Again, clearly well, I wouldn't say clearly. You could do this in a single complicated sketch, mostly rectangle with some other stuff, and then do a single extrusion. We're going to do it in 3 separate steps. We're going to make a basic rectangle. That's the total height, total width, and extrude it the total depth. Then we're going to cut away this this curve by making a circle and cutting extrude it. And then we're going to fill it off. We're going to round over that edge right there using the fillet tool. I know you might think fillet tool, but it is not a fillet tool. It is a fillet tool. Fillet has 1 L, I'm pretty sure, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so our basic rectangle is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wide, and its total height is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 9 wide, 6 tall, and 4 deep. So let's sketch on the front plane, look at it straight on, get a rectangle, just whatever size, dimension it from there, should be 9 wide. and its height should be 6. And finish the sketch. Look at it from a corner. Turn off the origin planes because it gets busy. Then extrude, choose our rectangle, and extrude it 4. All right, and okay, so there's that. This cutaway in the front corner. Let's do, okay, so it is just an arc. And it's kind of tricky to figure it out. But if you followed this edge straight up forever and followed this edge straight over forever, you can see that they meet right here, which if you did the math, okay, so this is 6 tall and we have 3 remaining. That means the distance from here is 3. And the same thing across the top, which is actually, you have to kind of weird. But if you found this point, you know there's 3 remaining. I know this is ridiculously complex. All you need to know is that this is the center point of this arc, and the distance from the center point to that part of the arc and the center point to that part of the arc is 3. So it's an arc with a radius of 3. But the problem with arcs is they're kind of finicky. It's hard to get them to stay in place when you dimension them. And they're not always closed loops, just like before when I showed you the triangle that wouldn't let me select it and I had to go back and draw extra lines. So when in doubt, use a circle, but just double the dimension. So let's get a sketch and sketch it on the front. Look at straight away and get a regular center point circle. Snap to this top right corner and make it like that. And then dimension that. If we want a radius of 3, that's a diameter of 6. And we can finish the sketch and we have this circle in the top corner. And we can extrude and it will let us select just that, which is fine. It doesn't matter if we select the whole thing because we're going to switch it to remove and do remove through all. And there you go. Okay, the other one you could do in a similar way. And well, first you have to realize that you can see here there's like this tiny dark triangle. It's slightly darker there. And the problem is this is like a photocopy of a photocopy and so on. So it's hard to see, but that is actually a center mark. And it's a center mark for this arc. It's just sort of implied. And the distance is 2 in every direction. So this has a radius of 2. And we could do a circle and try to get it to line up exactly, dimension the center point and cut extrude everything else. Or we could just use the fillet tool, which is this tool right here, and fillet this top corner here, or this top edge. And the dimension we want is that radius of 2. And hit OK. And there you go. So that's part 9, all done. And part 8 is, part 10 is even easier. Create part studio, right click, rename part 10. And part 10 is the same thing, a rectangle that is, I think it's the same size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tall. And this is 10 wide, I think, because it's 2, 3, 3, and 2. So it's 10 wide, 6 tall, 4 deep. So let's just do that first. That's an easy get. So it's sketch on the front, straight on, rectangle from the origin, dimension 10 wide and 6 tall. finish sketch, corner, origin point and planes, and extrude, choose that, extrude 4. 4. Okay, and the only other part feature is a arc, well, a rounded semicircle cut extrusion. And we're gonna do the same thing as before. Oh no, the internet. Give me a second. Oh, we're back. The only thing we need to do is find the center point. We know we have a radius of 3. It's the same distance in every direction. We're just going to make a circle with a diameter of 6 and then cut extrude it over, making sure that the center point is this top center point, which we'll get a free snap to. We don't even need to dimension it. So let's put a sketch on the front face, straight on since we're sketching. Circle, center point circle, which is the default type. And find the exact center point. You'll get a little sort of half snap, a soft snap. No, that's a real snap. Soft snap is like the dancing marching ants there. Okay, so we go like this from that center point and dimension the diameter to 6 since we want a radius of 3. And we can finish sketch and do extrusion and just choose the part we want. I mean, it doesn't matter because we're going to switch it to cut, and it doesn't matter if you cut air, as long as you cut something. And the distance we want to cut is just through all. You could switch it to 4 or 100 or anything, but just through all is the pro way to do it. And there you go. That is part 10. And next time, so that's it for 1 through 10. Obviously, it's part 10. Next time for 11 through 20, we are going to open up a new document and call that parts 11 through 20. Okay, so that it doesn't get too crowded once we start doing technical drawings, which is coming up shortly. Hopefully, I'd like to get through this, especially for people that did this last semester. Okay.